Caitlin Clark. Wow. Now, everybody here knows you. Everybody listening probably knows you. But I want to know who you are in your own words.
Oh, that is a tough one to start with.
I
think, oh, man. Should I pick a few words to describe me?
Whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, I think, number one, I think passionate. I think no matter what I'm doing, I think not only basketball, but really whatever I'm doing in life, I think I do it with a lot of passion. I think that's just who I am, what I've always been like. I think I'm passionate about basketball, passionate about school, things I'm doing in our community. I think I'm passionate about energetic. I think I'm always bring a lot of energy. I think you could definitely ask my teammates and my coaches. I'm a very fun one to be around. I like to have fun. I think I'm good at balancing, when to be serious, but also when to have a good time. And I think Coach Bluter really appreciates that sometimes. She's been around the game for a long time, so trying to keep it fresh, keep her young.
Never seen one like this before.
Oh, and then another word, man. I don't know. I think those two really describe me the best.
Yeah.
I think I bring those to all aspects of what I do, really.
Yeah. Well, as a fan, I think I would agree with that. And then we have John here.
Yeah.
And we have John who's extra jealous of you, Caitlin.
Very much.
So,
I mean, who pulls off the Jordan shrug and just no big deal, goes viral with that? I mean, not everybody gets to do that.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think I would ever do that in a game, but sometimes things just happen on the court, and I think that's kind of just who I am. You feed off the crowd, you feed off the energy, you feed off kind of how the game's going, your teammates, and then you do things like that, and people love it. So
yeah, and you're somebody I've gotten to know dating back to your freshman year of high school in my previous job, and I just remember watching you grow, so to speak, through interviews, through your basketball game. But I've always said the one thing about you is you compete at one of the highest levels I've ever seen. Like, it's a next level. And so that's one thing I've always been jealous of, is just that tenacity to go chase down whatever you're going after, whether that be a high school game, USA, whatever. So it's pretty inspiring to watch someone as young as you mature that quickly and really take it on.
Yeah, I think certainly. I think, growing up, my parents knew I was super competitive from a young age. I'm not sure they always loved it. When I was young, I really didn't know how to control it. I was so competitive, really, no matter what we did, not just sports. If we were playing a board game at home or, even in class at school, I was super competitive. Sometimes my teachers would have to talk to my mom, you need to figure out how to calm this girl down because rocket math is not that serious. But it was to me.
She threw bows.
I had to win. I didn't want to lose rocket math. I didn't want to come in second. So I remember, I just was heated whenever I would lose, and they had to talk to my mom about it. But I think that's something I've learned to control and balance, and I've kind of just always had that competitive spirit, but also been super confident in myself. And, that's not something every female athlete has. I think that's something a lot of people struggle with. And, I'm not going to say my confidence is perfect all the time, but I think that's something my parents kind of instilled in me at a young age, is just to be confident and go after whatever you're doing. And I think that competitive side just comes out when I'm doing that.
Helps to have a couple brothers to bring it out too, right?
Certainly. I think they know kind of the buttons to push to bring it out in the worst way sometimes. But no, I think, they made me who I am. Certainly my older one, and then I probably picked on my younger one a little too much. But it was fun growing up with them. And then I had my mom's family kind of lived here. She had 6 siblings, so
oh wow,
our family was super super close, and all the boy cousins happened to be my age too. So
nice.
I would just get picked on, and any family event, Easter, Christmas, I would come in crying. I think all my cousins were super annoyed of me, but now they're my biggest fans. All the parents were like, "Oh, Caitlin's crying again," but no, I just wanted to win. If I didn't have the most Easter eggs, I was mad. So
oh, that's amazing. Hey, I had a bunch of boy cousins my age, but I didn't come out of this a star basketball player, so I need to talk to them and see what they did wrong.
They didn't pick on you hard enough.
They didn't. No. I guess not.
So how did you, I remember talking to you after you chose Iowa. You had a lot of great schools offering you, but what was it about Lisa Bluter and Iowa that made you say, this is where I want to play my 4 years of college ball?
Yeah, like you said, I did have a lot of options, and it was really hard. I think early in the recruiting process, it was oh my gosh, this is so fun. All these schools are recruiting me, UCLA, Notre Dame, Texas, Florida, all these crazy places that would have been so fun to go to and whatnot. Kind of the brand schools that you see always in Shields or Nike's promoting their gear or whatnot. So I did take quite a few visits, but I think at the end of the day, what I really loved about Coach Bluter is, whenever I went on my visits, the staff and the girls, they just got along so well, and that it wasn't a show. Like, now that I'm there, like, my teammates are my best friends, and that's not what it is every place else. So I'm very thankful for that, and I think, obviously the school aspect of it was important, and I think really anywhere I was going to go, I was going to get my degree and get a great education, and then, being close to my family, I think you could tell, like, my family is very important to me. It always has been, and I wanted them to be able to come to my games, so that quickly ruled out a lot of places that were recruiting me, and that was hard because those were cool places. Wow. They had great basketball programs, but being basically an hour and 40 minutes from our home here, they're basically at every single home game. I don't think they've missed one yet. They come to a lot of road games, obviously, because playing in the Big Ten, a lot of schools right around here. So I think that was a really big one for me, too. I could come home on the weekends, watch my brother's game at Iowa State, go to his football games on the weekends. So I think that was kind of the sealing the deal for me.
I love that. Well, I want to back up. I'm sorry, John.
Yeah,
I want to back up. You said why Iowa. I want to know, you're competitive in rocket math and Easter egg hunting. Why did you choose basketball?
Yeah, so I grew up basically playing every sport. Like I said, I was super competitive: soccer, basketball, softball. I did tennis for a little while, did track in middle school. I just wanted to do anything and everything. And then in high school, I just did soccer and basketball. I did soccer my freshman and sophomore year. I played varsity, and I was pretty good. I honestly probably could have gone on and played in college, but I didn't I loved it. I loved being around my teammates, but I didn't ever work on my game outside of soccer, just because soccer is in the spring here in the state of Iowa for high school, so it conflicted with AAU basketball. Right. And I knew basketball was my future, so I ended up giving up soccer, which was a very hard decision, and I still miss it. But no, I think as time kind of had gone on, I kind of knew basketball was for me, but soccer and basketball were definitely my favorite growing up.
Amazing. Hey.
So do you still play soccer at all?
I do.
She can still whip your butt.
I probably could.
She probably could.
When I first got back here to Des Moines about a week ago, I went to the Dalian soccer game. They were playing Johnson at Dalian. I'm like, I was sitting there with my mom. I'm like, I miss this. I went to go because they still have the same coach that I played for, and he's an awesome guy. He does a great job with those girls. So I went over to watch them play, and it was just fun. I was like, I just miss these times, with your best friends in high school, getting to play soccer. But it's all good.
Were you a goal scorer in soccer too?
Yeah, I was the forward. I scored a lot of goals. It was super fun. Our teams were really good, actually. Dalian usually has a good team every single year, so it was a good time.
The physicality probably suited. You probably liked a little bit more of that physical side of soccer to get that out, because basketball, you kind of get fouls.
Funny you say that, because I was probably a little too physical. I got a yellow card here and there, but no, it was good. I think that's just part of soccer, being physical. It is basketball too. But I think if you even watch boys soccer, it's super physical, much more than girls soccer. But I think just getting out there, getting to run. The only thing I did not like about it is it was outside, so you'd have to play in the cold, the rain. Yeah. Basketball, nope, you know what you're dealing with when you're going into the game.
Constant temperature, we love it.
Fan of 67 and comfortable.
I love it. Best.
That's awesome. So I mean, the other thing about going back to the Iowa side of things, I mean, you being an Iowan, how much did that play into it too, of representing your state, staying in state, being as highly touted as you were?
Yeah, I knew the state of Iowa supported women's basketball and really women's athletics in general really, really well. I think, once I kind of got to Iowa City and really started living it, I really started to appreciate it more. Obviously, I think this year much more than last, just because last year we didn't have fans, but you could still kind of feel that support just through the community, and social media obviously is a big part of it nowadays. But obviously this year, I mean, we sold out 3 times back to back to back, which is incredible. That's unheard of in women's basketball and really women's athletics in general, really no matter what sport you're playing. So that was incredible. I think just being out in the community, and I'll go places, even now that I'm back home, but people will come up to me like, man, it was so fun watching your team this year. And they just love it, and it just brings so much joy to people. So I think that's the coolest part, just getting to put a smile on people's faces. And obviously the little kids you get to inspire that come up to you all the time and are waiting for you after games. I feel like I was just that little kid, so it's almost weird to me in a way. But I was a huge fan of women's basketball growing up. My dad would take me to a lot of Drake games right down here in Des Moines, just because we lived here. It was the easiest thing to get to. So You know, we went to a lot of those games growing up, and I just loved every single part of it. So it's kind of weird I'm in those shoes now.
Yeah.
But it's been amazing.
I love it. And I love watching the games, and it pans to the audience, and it just shows, it zooms in on those little girls, and they're just watching you, and their eyes light up, and they're so excited. How does it feel to know that, man, you are their icon out there?
I mean, it's incredible. I think, you know, just our whole team in general really can feel that impact, I think. You know, when you have a sold-out crowd and you see all those little girls, and there was a ton of girls just swarming the court after we won, and we were celebrating when we won at home, when we beat Michigan. It was like, oh, my gosh. But, you know, it's been incredible, and I really try to make time as much as I can to, like, sign an autograph, sign their ball, sign their shirt, or just give them a high five or take a picture, because, like, I mean, that makes their whole month or year, and it takes like 5 seconds of my time. So no, it's incredible, and I think our team is like the perfect role models for those young girls. Not only great basketball players, but just great people. Do good in school, care about the community. And I think, you know, that's kind of just the program that Coach Bluter has really laid there, and that's what she cares about, and those are the type of people she recruits.
And do you, I mean, one, what's the craziest thing a little kid's ever said to you after a game? And two, I mean,
say the darndest
do you
thing.
see like a little Caitlin Clark in the stands almost when you're going through those?
I think certainly I can see a little Caitlin Clark. I don't know about the craziest. Usually they don't talk. They're like so starstruck. I'm like, I promise you I'm not that cool. But usually they're like so shy and like shaking. I think like the weirdest thing is like people want me to sign like their arms and like their skin. I'm like,
You're gonna wash that
I'm like,
off.
are your parents sure? Like, I'm like, please tell your parents I say sorry because this was not my idea. But
Is this permanent marker?
I know. It's like I'm
Mom.
signing them with a Sharpie. I'm like,
Sign my forehead, Caitlin.
She
I
finds
know,
out who it is. She's
but
like, okay, that's all right.
No,
That's
I
hilarious.
think I was totally just that little girl, and I wanted their autographs too. I wanted a picture, and it made my whole year when I was growing up.
Definitely.
So I know how it goes.
Definitely. When I was little, so I'm from a small school district in southeast Iowa, and we had a basketball tournament over in Kyoto. I don't know, does anyone know where
Sigourney
Kyoto?
Kyoto.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And Kirk Ferentz's one of his kids was playing, and so he was there, and I went over and I got his little autograph. I got his autograph. I still have it.
Do you really?
I do have it. And man, but that took guts of me to go up and ask this full-grown man, and I'm like, who is it? I think really my parents really wanted it.
I know. Sometimes
who is
the
this
parents
guy?
are like, hey, go get her autograph.
Autograph. I'm like, all right, can I have your autograph? Yeah.
Do you ever get starstruck? I mean, with all the people, places you see now?
Yeah, I think especially when I see like NBA and WNBA or like professional or famous people like tweeting about me or appreciating my game or when I have a good game. Like that's still really cool to me. Like I still feel like I'm a young kid, like idolizing them, and I still do idolize them. Like they're some of the greatest people to ever play the game. So, yeah, I definitely still.
So like
get
when Katie
starstruck.
was on that podcast, and he's like, "Man, that girl Caitlin Clark, man, was that kind of bizarre, like strange to you?"
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, is he really talking about me? But Katie has been a fan for a while, and I think the thing I love about him is he supports women's sports like no other. Like he invests in pro teams, he shows up to games, he's watching games, like he knows how it is. So it's not just me. Like he really, I know he just invested a ton of money in a women's professional soccer team, I think in Philly.
Oh wow.
Like he doesn't just talk the talk, but he like walks the walk about supporting women's sports and talking about it and showing up to games. So I think that's what I really appreciate about him. But yes, it's very cool to see him talk about me.
Who was your idol growing up? I mean, men or women, because there are a lot of great women's basketball players that kind of paved that way as you were growing up too, but the men too.
Yeah, I think my cousins played at Dowling, so like close idols, like I idolized them in a way.
Yeah.
They went to Dowling, and then one of my cousins ended up playing at Creighton for a while. But like professionally, I loved Maya Moore. She played at UConn, then she went to play for the Minnesota Lynx, and I actually went to a WNBA game in Minnesota with my dad, so I got to see her play live. She doesn't play anymore. She's done playing basketball, but she was like my favorite. And then, I loved Dirk Nowitzki growing up. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, man. That's hard. I mean, I love Steph, but he's a little more recent. I wouldn't say I wasn't, like, young at the time.
You're still young.
That's true. That's true. I wouldn't say I'm old, but, like, I'm talking, like, 10.
Yeah.
Obviously, Katie. I've been a Katie fan forever. I'm trying to think who else.
I mean, when people make that comparison, when you're throwing logo threes up and they're saying Steph Curry 2.0 of the women's game, like, I mean, does that resonate with you? I mean, did you think that, I mean, I'm gonna put David Eichelt's words into frame here, but
Give him a shout out
he
here.
says you transcend the game a little bit, and I think that definitely is true in the sense of you're changing the way women's basketball is kind of looked at. It's always kind of looked at as, yeah, there's a lot of threes, but it really funnels through the post. Now we're seeing you pulling up with 3 defenders on you from a logo, and it's very different.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah, what's the big deal?
What's your point?
I think, it's super cool. And honestly, like, if you would have asked me before my college career started, like, would I think it played out like this, I probably would have said no. But at the same time, like, I have super big goals for myself, so I'm not sure I could see it being any other way at the same time. But I think, like, the range and the crazy shooting has kind of just came with, like, me developing, like, getting stronger, really consistently lifting and getting in the weight room. So shout out to our strength coach. She'll probably be mad if I don't give her a shout out here. But no, and I really haven't loved the weight room in high school. I never did. I never really took it seriously. But then when I got into college, like, it's just so important. And, I'm not the biggest person, but, just finding your strength in little ways, I think has been important. But, it's crazy to think about people calling me Stephen Curry 2.0 because I don't feel like that just because he's so incredible. I go and watch him on TV, and I'm like, how? Like, how does he make that? Like, it's just so wild, and the confidence he plays with. But, I think it's fun. I think, those exciting plays, that's just who I am. That's kind of what I did in high school to a level. It was kind of different, obviously, but I just love hearing the crowd roar. I love hearing, getting them into it, waving my hands, clapping. Like, that's just who I am.
Mm-hmm. You feed off of some of that negative energy on the road, too.
Yeah.
I think, was it the Nebraska game where they're getting into you and you're giving it right back to them? Yes.
My gosh. I think Nebraska probably doesn't like me the most out of anybody in the world.
It's Nebraska.
But no.
You're not wrong.
I honestly love going. Somebody's like, where's your favorite place to play other than Carver? They asked me this the other day, and I'm like, honestly, like, probably Nebraska.
Lean into
like,
it. I love that.
Pinnacle Bank Arena is super nice. Like, that, it's in a fun place to play, and they get a lot of fans, too. I think they had 10,000 when we went there this year. So that was fun. And at the time, I think had just lost, or they're undefeated. They had just beat Michigan. So that was a huge win for us, but no, their fans do not like me for some reason. I think there's like a fine line of like, getting into it with the crowd, having fun, but at the same time, it's just the competitive spirit. And at the end of the day, you can leave all that on the court, and I'm really good about that. But sometimes like fans can kind of cross the line. So I think just being able to appreciate the women's game for what it is and letting them be competitive and show their emotion, because that's what makes it so fun. You don't want to watch players that are just stoic and straight-faced the whole time.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't want to watch that.
Yeah.
Maybe people do. I guess I'm my own person. But, no, I think it's fun to get excited, get into it with the fans. And at the end of the day, like, that's just part of the game. And you're going to respect your opponent when you step off the floor, respect their fans. And, that's just how it goes.
That's cool how you say that. That's really cool how you say that, because a lot of people could say a lot of different things. But how do you deal with that when you're on the bus, riding home, and you're kind of thinking through that? How are you dealing with that and like flushing that negative out? I'm sure some of it stays, but how do you deal?
Yeah, I think, when you're an elite athlete, you just kind of have to expect that there's going to be haters and people that don't always like for you or root for you, or they want to see you fall. And I think kind of from a young age, my mom told me, like, when you're at the top, people want to see you fail. That's just how it is, no matter what you're doing in life.
It goes back to the whole
jealous thing.
Jealous thing,
like,
right? They're jealous.
Yeah, when you're at the top, people want to see you fall. So I think, having a small circle and surrounding yourself with people that really want to help you succeed and be your best every single day. And, when you're an elite competitor and you're performing at a high level, there's always going to be those people. So, don't listen to them because they don't really know the real you.
Yeah.
They don't know all the work you've put in, all the time you've put in. Just trusting that the small circle you have, your teammates, your coaches, your family. I think just leaning on them for support and just listening to what they have to say and just being true to yourself, really.
I love that. It's like the saying, what is it? If they've never been there, don't ask them for directions,
Exactly,
You don't need that.
Yeah.
For sure. And I mean, do you see the stuff on Twitter that on both ends?
I think this year I've done a really good job of, this past year, I guess it's over now. Like turning my phone off when I don't need to be on Twitter. I think that's kind of been a learning process, especially after games, just because so many different people want to speak their opinion, and they can speak whatever they want. Everybody has their own opinions. That's fine. But I think like you don't really need to read that at the end of the day. Like all that matters is what's in your locker room, your coaches, your teammates, and Just being able to turn your phone off, debrief, and give it a couple days before you get back on social media, I think is something I've really learned to do. And I think it's been very healthy for me as well.
The way we view jealousy here is we brought you on because we are very jealous of you in a few different ways. I mean, I am not an athlete, if you can't tell. And I know it may be hard. But we use it as motivation, and we want to sit you down and pick your brain. So who is that person that is out there, or people that you are jealous of, that you just think, man, like I'm inspired by them, I'm motivated by them, I want to know how they tick, I want to know how they do it. Do you have that person?
Ooh. Well, I think I would say Coach Bluter, honestly. Wow. Obviously, like, that's a very easy, like, I know her, so that's like an easy one for me to say. Just because, like, I feel like not only does she build great people, but great basketball players, and like what she does for our community is tremendous, and how hard she works at getting to see that up close. Not everybody gets to see that, but like she's always in the office working, watching film, recruiting, blah, blah, blah. I mean, she just puts in so much time. And I think she's a great role model for us. Like, if you want to get somewhere, you have to put in hard work, and she always preaches that, and she always says, be where your feet are, and she knows no matter what you're doing, give it your all. I think that's very important too. So, like, if we're going to take a hard test, she wants us to be 110% focused on that. Don't worry about basketball, but when you're at basketball, don't worry about school. Just give it everything you got in the moment you're in. So I think that, and what she's been able to do at the University of Iowa, and just what she's been able to build, I think is incredible. So ever since I've got there, it's been like an honor just to really talk to her and learn from her. And now she's basically like my second mom. Yeah. In a way, I spend more time with her than my actual mom. Yeah. So, but I think, somebody that I don't even know, Serena Williams. I think I'd go with her. She's like probably my favorite athlete overall. Yeah. Non-basketball athlete for sure. I mean, she's a mom. She has great business. Like, she does great things in her business life. Yeah. And then obviously an incredible athlete. So I think kind of her. So she would be somebody I would want to sit down with and just like talk to.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great. And I love what you said about your coach. I mean, we find ourselves finding so many behind the scenes like themes on this podcast so much. And I think with a coach like her, people could look at her. I mean, they don't have to know that she's in the office. They don't, because she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to do any of those things. She really, I mean, she's built herself and she's built this empire and this legacy, but she does. And I love to hear it directly from you. So it's very, very cool.
Absolutely.
I mean, do you feel like, as you keep getting older and as basketball and life keeps going on, what do you want your legacy to be? I know you've got a lot of life in front of you still, but your legacy is kind of already started between Dowling and your 2 years at Iowa, both on and off the court. What do you want that lasting legacy to be for Caitlin Clark?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Oh, man, I'm only 20. I don't know.
I know, and I know that's a heavy question.
No, I think, being somebody that can inspire the next generation, I hope there's a lot of little girls out there, and even boys. I think there's still a lot of boys that come up to me and still want my autograph or want a picture, and I think, why not? If little girls are going to go up to male professional athletes, why can't boys go up to females?
Definitely,
I think that's something that's really cool too, but, I think being able to inspire them and just get them excited about the game, and, that's really the reason you play, because you love it and you want to inspire the next generation. So I think, just kind of paving that path and making it easier for girls, getting more support for women's sports. So the next generation that comes up, maybe they're playing in front of a sold-out crowd every single night, or people just can appreciate the game even if it doesn't have logo threes in it all the time or things like that. So, I think that's kind of the biggest thing. And, obviously I still have another 2 years, so I think there's a lot of ways to go with that. But I think just bringing excitement to women's sports and showing that it can be fun. People can come to the games and really enjoy it. And I think, this year we really showed that. I think the way our whole team plays together, and I think people can tell how much we love one another while we're playing. Like I said, they're my best friends, and maybe sometimes that's not the best thing because we hate getting mad at each other when we need to get mad at each other. We're a little too nice sometimes, but no, I think, we wouldn't want it any other way, and that's what makes it so fun. And I think that's part of the reason we are so good, is because we are so close on and off the court.
Yeah. And I have to ask, who's the player that you are excited to see next season, that you want to go toe-to-toe with kind of ties back to that jealousy a little bit, but you're probably not jealous of them. They might be more jealous of you.
On a different team or my own team?
Different. Well, I mean, is there someone you want to go toe to toe with on the Iowa squad?
I think the only person I've met that is as competitive as me is Kate Martin. I mean, she is competitive, but if I had to pick somebody else on a different team,
And I'm not going to let you say like Paige Beckers or anybody like that, even though.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm trying to think of somebody in the Big Ten. That's tough, honestly. There's so many good players. I would have said Veronica Burton. She plays at Northwestern, but she graduated. She's in the WNBA now. That's hard. J.C. Sheldon from Ohio State. I'd probably go with her. She's a really good guard. I'm going to pick a guard here just because that's who I really match up with. She's really good, so I'm going to go her.
Was it tough this last year? The National Player of the Year award was very highly contested. A lot of arguments on both sides. Was that hard this year, and how does that motivate you?
Yeah, I think, being able to appreciate everything you've done and just, our coaches kind of preach, like, it's huge to just be a finalist for that award as a sophomore. That's pretty incredible. And, obviously you're a competitor. Anybody that's a finalist wants to win the award. That's just how you should want to win the award. That's just how it goes. But I know there was a lot of discussion about it and a lot of back and forth. And, there was
a lot of it, yeah.
There was great cases for the both of us. And it's super hard to compare the two because Aaliyah obviously is a post and I'm a point guard. So it's like, how can you even tell
Apples
who's
to oranges,
right?
Yeah.
And she plays on the best team in the country. So there's that going for her. And, but that's healthy. I know Dawn Staley kind of talked about this when she was talking about the discussion between both of us. She was like, you want there to be a discussion. That's good for women's basketball. So I completely agree with her there. Like, you want it to be kind of a battle. And, like, that gets people excited.
Yeah.
That had Twitter talking. That had the community talking. Like, that's what you need for women's basketball. So it's okay to have that. But I don't think it's something that, like, I'm upset about that I didn't win. I still think it's amazing, being a finalist. But I think it gives you something to work even harder for and want to achieve.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh. Should we do a little rapid fire with you?
Go, give her
Yes.
some rapid fire, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I already asked my first one. And John already asked my second one.
What?
But that's
What was the
totally fine.
second one?
Which basketball player are you
Oh.
taking one-on-one and beating?
Oh.